Thank you again to everyone who's joined. I think we'll just give it until 12:05 and then we'll begin. All right, everyone, it's 12:05. I thank you again for everyone who has logged in to participate to review the proposed changes for the 2024-2025 service year here at MTD. Our new service year begins August 12th. My name is Allison Haynes. I'm the customer support specialist here at the district. If you have questions during this presentation, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A, which can be accessed in the bottom toolbar of your Zoom webinar window. We'll stop throughout the presentation a couple of times to ask questions, but feel free to drop them in the Q&A at any time, and we'll do our best to answer those for you here during the presentation. So not to delay any further, I will introduce Dave Goldenbaum. He is our service planner, and he will be starting the presentation for us today.
Mute. Hi, that should be better. Thanks, Allison. Thanks for the introduction. So now that you can hear me, my name's Dave Goldenbaum. I'm a service planner here at MTD, and I am going to be joined in this presentation by Choshi Huang. She's an analyst planner here with MTD. So in this meeting, Choshi and I will be reviewing our proposed changes for our new service year beginning this fall. This is an annual process that coincides with the beginning of the new school year for the University of Illinois and also for our local public schools, Unit 4 and District 116. When MTD traditionally plans improvements and changes to our routes and schedules during this time. So next slide, please. MTD encourages public feedback during our live presentation today. So our viewers can submit questions at any time. Questions will be reviewed and addressed by MTD staff at designated points during this presentation, like Allison said, and all feedback will be documented and posted onto our website after the event. And in addition to today's live event, there will be an in-person session on Thursday, May the 9th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Illinois Terminal. And there you can speak directly with a staff member or submit a written comment card. Similar to previous recorded hearings, there will be an open comment period from May 5th through May 18th. And during this time, MTD will continue to accept questions and feedback. So visit our web page at mtd.org/public-hearing to submit your questions and input and view posted responses. And with that, let's dive into our first topic for today's presentation, service restoration. Choshi, if you would switch slides, thank you. So, we'll go back one more if you would. Thanks. So starting in the fall of 2021, MTD began cutting service due to a lack of operators. This was a trend that affected the transit industry nationwide. And since then, we've been working diligently to fill operator vacancies and restore service. So we're very pleased to report that we've reached our goals and we've already begun restoring service. And we have plans to fully restore all missing service beginning this fall. So these next slides show our recent progress along with plans for our full service restoration. and you can switch now. So beginning in January of this year, MTD started restoring some of our missing weekday and weekend service. So as of today, we've brought back nearly 72 hours, actually over 72 hours of weekday service per day, including 2 yellow hoppers, 2 green hoppers, and 1 teal and 1 link trip. And we added another Safe Rides van. We've also restored over 30 hours of weekend service, including a trip on the teal, silver, and added an additional Safe Rides van there too. Service frequency has been restored to full levels on all of these routes, with the exception of the teal at Orchard Downs during weekday daytime service. Next slide, please. So MTD's summer service begins next week on Sunday, May the 12th. And though our summer service is regularly reduced for the non-U of I schedule, this year we have restored an additional 73 hours of weekday service and 58 hours on the weekend, which had previously been paused. So MTD has restored trips on 7 weekday routes, including the yellow, red, green, navy, pink, green hopper, and lime. And trips on 4 Saturday routes have also been restored, including the yellow, red, green, and gray, and 3 trips on Sunday, including the yellow, teal, and lime. So service frequency has been restored to full levels on all routes this summer. Next slide. Starting this fall, the final phase of service restoration is set to take place. So beginning Monday, August 12th, the missing hopper trip on the Gold will be running, restoring 10-minute service to that route. When U of I service begins the following week, MTD will restore weekday daytime teal to 20-minute service at Orchard Downs. And all Illini frequencies will be moved from 15 minutes to 10 minutes, back to pre-pandemic levels. Also, all silver daytime frequencies will be restored back to 10 minutes. So this represents an additional 72 hours per day on the weekday and another 30 hours of service over the weekend. So with this final restoration phase in place, all service cuts due to our operator shortage will be back up and running. So we're very pleased to be able to show you that. At this time, I'd like to pause briefly if there are any questions. We don't have any questions from our moderator.
We do not, Dave. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Allison. Well, in that case, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Choshi, and she will present the next topic, which is the Northeast Connect.
Thank you, Dave. I'm going to briefly talk about the Northeast Connect, MTD's new proposed service. Next one, slide. Okay. This map shows the current routes that run in the Northeast Urbana area. Currently, we know that the weekday daytime Ruby and weekday daytime Gold serve this area, but only during peak hours. So starting from this fall, we are shifting towards a more efficient solution with an on-demand service. Can you hear me well? You can? Okay.
It seems like we're gonna work a little bit on improving your audio there, Choshi.
Can you hear me well now? I'm pressing my microphone. Sounds better? Okay, thank you. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I will again introduce the Northeast Urbana and a Northeast Connect service. This map shows the current routes that run in Northeast Urbana. Currently, this area is served by Gold and Ruby weekday daytime, but only during peak hours. So starting from this fall, we are shifting towards a more efficient solution with an on-demand service. This transition will optimize our vehicle and operator resources to better meet the needs in this area. The new Northeast Connect will replace the current weekday daytime Ruby. The service will improve the mobility, reliability, and consistency of our service in the Northeast Urbana area. This on-demand service would take passengers curb to curb, connect passengers with a robust fixed route service at Lincoln Square. Well, the cost is the same as other services, just $1 per one-way trip, with the option to use any valid MTD passes. The Northeast Connect would provide all-day service on weekday from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. This allows MTD to maximize van resources so customers can get a prompt response. Additionally, we will introduce a new 10 gold routing with greater consistency. So those changes will have a positive impact on our on-time performance and eliminate the confusions about different routings throughout the day. Next one. Customers can schedule a trip via MTD Connect app or calling MTD. Customers can book a trip to Lincoln Square from anywhere inside the boundary or vice versa. What's more, customers can book a direct trip within the boundary, such as from West Home to Farming Fleet. Again, this service provides customers with greater flexibility and accessibility to the fixed route service. MTD conducted a survey to learn riders' needs about Northeast Connect. Our team made extensive efforts to engage with local communities. We received a total of 116 responses, with 100 in English and 16 in Spanish. The majority of respondents are current MTD riders, with 59% indicating they do not have access to a personal vehicle. Among the respondents, 62% identified as frequent Gold riders, 36% as frequent Ruby riders, and 60% need a transfer to their destinations. This findings suggest that the Northeast Connect will likely absorb the ridership of current fixed routes there, while still addressing people's transfer needs. Regarding the interest in using an on-demand service in the area, 57% of the respondents chose yes, indicating a strong potential for future implementation. This slide shows some comments we received from the respondents. We received many of them, and many expressed their welcome to this new service, along with some concerns about reliability and punctuality. MTD will monitor the operations very carefully to address these concerns. This is a map of Northeast Connect boundary. This map will also be available on our website. Here I'm going to introduce the new 10 gold routing. With Northeast Connect serving the area north of Perkins Road, the current 10 gold routing that includes a loop from Brownfield to Airport to High Cross to Perkins. This dashed line will no longer be operated. The solid gold line shown in this map from Broadway to Perkins to Cunningham to Kerr Street, and then this loop will go into effect on August 11th, 2024. And this loop will be operated all day throughout the day. So passengers who utilize 10 gold service in the affected area would instead use Northeast Connect. This modification would enable the gold route to operate consistently throughout the service day, thereby enhancing schedule adherence and eliminating confusions. I'm going to pause there. Do we have any questions?
Thank you. We do not have any questions.
Okay, so I will go ahead and switch to next part service changes, and Dave, it's your turn.
Okay, thank you very much, Joshi. So now that Joshi and I have discussed some of our primary service changes, it's time to discuss some additional service changes that we are proposing for this fall. Next slide, please. So recently, MTD was approached by Plastipac regarding a change at their facility to the location of the main employee entrance. So the red routing and stop represents the current area being served on Plastipac property. Starting August 11th, MTD routes serving Plastipac will follow the new yellow routing. The new boarding and alighting location will be on the north side of the facilities indicated by this map. So to accommodate the new routing, MTD is allowing for an additional 5 minutes for each route serving Plasti-Pak. Next slide. During weekday daytime service, there will be no change, with the exception of the 6:50 a.m. orange that will arrive and depart at 6:52. But other than that, no changes to weekday daytime. For weekday late night service on the line, plan on an arrival and departure time 2 minutes later at 10:57 p.m. and 11:20 p.m. And then the only changes for weekday service will be on Saturday evening, when the line will again arrive and depart 2 and 3 minutes later at 6:59 and 7:38 p.m. Next slide. So MTD has had a request to expand our service to the Apollo subdivision on Saturdays, serving FedEx and other businesses in the community. Currently, the red route serves Apollo during the weekday daytime service, and then the yellow serves it during weekday evening service. So beginning Saturdays this fall, we're proposing to add diversions to the 100 yellow to serve the Apollo subdivisions. This will begin at 7:17 a.m. and end at 11:13 p.m., following a schedule very similar to our current weekday service. Next slide. So MTD has designated the 100 South yellow on Saturday because it has sufficient layover time built in to it in this part of the community, and adding the Apollo diversion will require roughly 7 minutes to complete. So our plan is to depart Walmart 2 minutes earlier and then use the entire 8-minute layover at Marketplace Northeast entrance, and this will facilitate the Apollo trips. The highlighted trips on the schedule shown in this slide are the ones that have been designated for the Apollo diversions. So we'll see those in the schedule. Next slide. So also beginning this fall, MTD plans to adjust the 110 Ruby weekday evening schedule by 3 minutes to help it align better for transfers at Lincoln Square. So currently the 110 Ruby arrives at Lincoln Square at 23 minutes after the hour, and it just misses the 70 West Gray and the 50 East Green Hopper that depart at 20 after the hour. So by moving the 110 Ruby schedule back 3 minutes, it'll arrive at Lincoln Square in time to make these connections. Other connections currently being made should not be impacted, apart from the additional 3-minute wait time. So look for that this fall. Next slide. During the 6:35 a.m. and 7:40 a.m. universal transfer at Illinois Terminal, MTD stages routes as stage routes at assigned platforms locations. So starting this fall, the staging for the 6:35 a.m. universal transfer will be updated to more closely match staging used during the 7:40 a.m. universal transfer. It's a minor change, but it should help our riders and operators both, remembering staging locations, and it'll also improve the flow of buses exiting Illinois Terminal onto Market Street. Route schedule times will not be affected by this change. Next slide. So there is a 5 West Green serving the Illini Union at 6:40 a.m. and it currently has a 5-minute layover departing at 6:45 a.m. This layover is a remnant from an old universal transfer at Illini Union that was removed nearly 10 years ago. So by removing this layover on the 5 West Green, it'll enable the returning 5 East trip to arrive at the 7:40 universal transfer at Illinois Terminal on time. With the present schedule, this trip tends to run late, which can hold up the release of the 7:40 transfer. So passengers boarding the 5 East Green at the 7:40 universal transfer should certainly note that there will be a 5-minute earlier departure on this route, so that it arrives at that transfer on time. Next slide. So finally, in response to community outreach efforts in Southwest Champaign earlier this year, MTD will be expanding the West Connect service area. So these service area boundaries will include the Windsor West Apartments, Carl at the Fields, Christie Clinic, Hampton Inn, and other businesses in this area beginning this August. This expanded area is highlighted in red in this map. So passengers using the on-demand service will be able to request rides to and from all locations within the new service boundary, in addition to MTD's connection point at Round Barn Road. Last slide. So this concludes our presentation portion of today's public hearing. And at this time, I will turn things back over to Allison, our moderator, who may have some additional questions from our participants. And Joshi, you can advance the slide one more, please.
Thank you, Dave and Shoshi. I do not have any questions showing to me in my Q&A. I will just give the attendees a couple of minutes to add any questions they might have and give people a chance to, again, review the ways they can share their feedback and answer questions they may have later that are listed here on this slide. I will go ahead and remind the participants that this presentation was recorded. And as soon as we are able to, after the end of our presentation today, we will post the recording of this presentation on our public hearing webpage, which you can see in the third paragraph on this slide here. So that will be available to view, and you can continue to submit your comments and questions through May 18th. And I will give our attendees the opportunity to ask for us to review perhaps any of these changes. They can see these slides again if there are any that are of particular interest. All right, I do not see that any requests for review or questions have been added to the Q&A. So if there is no feedback at this time, I believe we will be able to conclude our public hearing this afternoon. Again, a recording of this presentation will be posted on our public hearing page, and comments will be taken through May 18th. And if you do want to see any of this information again, perhaps you can come join us at Illinois Terminal in person this Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock at City View on the 4th floor. Thank you again, everyone who came to look at our presentation this afternoon.